ready to do this?
I'm ready to do this.
All right.
Apparently,
So is Joseph Tugler. And it's Houston winning the tip. As Milos Uzan, the Oklahoma transfer. Kelvin Sampson said it took him a while to get the handle on this offense, but he really knows what he is doing right now and has taken this team to a whole different level. Manuel Sharp trying to go off the bounce, got his man in the air, and he gets the first whistle of the ball game as the foul is called on B.J. Freeman.
And that's a good sign for Houston. When you look at Emmanuel Sharp's last 6 games, he's only averaging about 6 points. And last game, he put up a goose egg, didn't score, but he's struggling from behind the arc. And one way to get a good shooter going is by getting to the free throw line early.
Kelvin Sampson, in his 11th season as the head coach of the Houston Cougars, all he does is win. And the blueprint at Houston, you better be tough, you better take care of the ball, and you better get on the boards if you want to play for Kelvin Sampson.
That's one thing Coach Hurley talked about today. He said a lot of coaches throw out the whole identity, the whole coach talk. But Kelvin Sampson actually lives it, and they have a true identity and a true culture at Houston.
First offensive possession here for Arizona State. You see that hounding D from Houston. That's what they're known for. Freeman forced to pick up his dribble. 7 seconds on the shot clock with Adam Miller, the senior, trying to go to work. They'll take a deep one, and the rebound goes to Emmanuel Sharp.
And that's what Houston does. They get you out of your rhythm. They get you out of the flow of your offense. Players are going to have to make plays. Guards are going to have to create offense without a play being called.
Cryer in the pick and roll with Tugler. Now going one-on-one against Quaintance, and he wins that battle. A 3-0 start for the Houston Cougars. Mason, the senior transfer from Missouri State, running the show. And a reach-in called on Tugler. That'll be his first. All right, we talked about in the open, Jaden Quaintance being back on the floor is a huge lift for Arizona State. But what is it going to take for the Sun Devils to get the upset tonight? Well,
it's going to take, number one, their guards are going to have to make plays. Kind of like I just said, they're going to have to be able to create ways off the bounce to be able to generate offense. Oh, my goodness, if I can speak today, Shrift. Yeah. But if they can be able to generate offense off the bounce, create plays for others, they're going to really have to do a good job of sharing the basketball.
Here's Quaintance, immediately gets the double team. He shares the rock, kick out, and the 3 no good. But on the rebound, good activity by Sean Phillips as he will draw the foul on Houston. And that's going to be on Tugler, so he picked up quickly 2 fouls.
And those are the shots you have to knock down if you were Freeman. Houston does a really good job. When you catch them in low block, they call it monster. They come double the low post. So as soon as you get the ball up your Quaintance, you have to be able to look opposite, deliver the pass like he did, but Freeman has to knock those down.
Quaintance reclassified. He should still be a senior in high school right now, but he's out there throwing dimes. And there is Freeman finishing for the first bucket for Arizona State.
So far, 2 for 2. Every single time he catches it on that low post, he's done a really good job delivering the pass out of the double. Let's see if he can continue to do that.
Cryer curling off the screen, elbow jumper. Oh, that is silky smooth.
He is so good off that curl, off the pin down. He does a good job getting his feet set, attacking the angle, and getting right to his spot.
And out of bounds, that goes off Freeman, turnover.
Let's take a look back at this pass right here by Quaintance. He has Sharp on the block. He sees Francis step over, delivers the pass to Freeman. This is what you have to do time and time again when he catches the ball on that low block.
There's Uzan, the junior out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Nice pocket pass. Oh, and he is met at the rim by Phillips. A hard foul committed as Javier Francis will get to the free throw line. No easy buckets here tonight in Tempe.
None at all. But I love the aggressiveness at the rim. When you look at Quaintance, when you look at Phillips, this is probably one of the best shot blocking front courts in all of the Big 12. So if you do not attack the rim like that, it will be sent the other way. But take a look at this. Such a good pocket pass right there. And I love the aggression towards the rim when you're dealing with two high-level shot blockers like Arizona State has at the rim.
Well, you talked about Arizona State, #1 in the Big 12 in terms of blocked shots. But I was at practice yesterday. I saw what Houston does. And Kelvin Sampson, he stopped it every single time a shot went up. And the offensive team did not even get a touch on the rebound for an offensive board. He makes sure his guys play hard every possession.
And that is an area where Coach Hurley was so worried about early. When I talked to him in shoot-around, he said, we're not the most physical team, but to go play against a team like Houston, you have to match their physicality and their toughness for a 40-minute span.
We played 3 minutes. That one's blocked out of bounds by Sharp. It'll stay here with Arizona State as B.J. Freeman has taken the majority of the shots early on for the Sun Devils.
Another thing Arizona State has to do, you have to take care of the basketball when you play against this Houston defense. Dead ball turnovers will not kill you. Live ball turnovers is where they thrive off of.
Shot clock's at 2. Miller had to force it. And Quintons did not get it off in time. Shot clock violation.
And that's what I mean right there. Dead ball turnovers don't necessarily hurt you. It's when you throw it to them, they're able to get a pick 6. Easy layups from your bad offense. But dead ball turnovers where you can set up your defense will not hurt you.
Pryor trying to work the pick and roll. Now it's Sharp off the bounce, puts on the brakes, and the turnaround jumper off the mark. There's the offensive rebound for Houston. And a foul called on Phillips. That'll be his second personal. Over and over again, Kelvin Sampson talked about how the Houston Cougars got just 3 offensive rebounds in their last game Saturday at Arizona. He reminded his guys pretty much every minute in practice and said, we need to do better. You saw another offensive rebound here. Off the inbound, Cryer's 3, got it.
He's been terrific. Averaging 17 in the last 6 games, with Sharp not being his usual self. LJ Cryer has rose to the occasion and really stepped up in the scoring department.
A 10-2 lead for Houston. Once again, shot clock running down for Arizona State. Mason gets it up, and he hits the 3.
Right there, that was all started by Quintons, catching it on the low block once again. Throwing it back out to Jihad, creating the shot for Austin. If Quintons can continue to do this, I think that's your answer offensively if you're Arizona State right now.
It is Houston up 5, but Bobby Hurley's doing everything he can for this squad. The next day in practice, he was going to give it to us. It was going to be one of those rough ones. And then Coach K actually tricked us with ice cream, and it totally changed the mood. He said, that's what I'm trying to do for my guys here. Inside, out of the timeout, Alston Mason gets the and 1. Sometimes you got to get creative when you're in a slump. And because there's a theme of ice cream here in the desert, take a look at this. During the break, we got rewarded with some ice cream as well. King. I don't know if we're in a slump, but I'll take any ice cream anytime.
100%. I'll always take the ice cream, even though I'm trying to watch my figure.
Stop. Stop. You don't need to talk like that.
Trying to watch my figure a little bit, but you know what? You can indulge every now and then. Treat yourself.
Let's see if it'll turn out well for Arizona State. Here's Cryer from the other side of the court. This one rimmed out. Offensive rebound. And Javier Francis will be fouled and get to the line.
Francis has given good minutes with Tugler being in foul trouble early. I mean, that rebound, that's a grown man's rebound. Grabbing it out of the sky. If you're Jihad, you have to always know that they are crashing, and they are crashing relentlessly.
Francis, the senior from New Orleans, Louisiana, makes the first. as Terrence Arsenault will check into the game for Houston. And Amir Ali, the freshman from Little Elm, Texas, also checking in for Arizona State, as Francis knocks them both down. 4-point lead for Houston. Anything you've noticed here in the first 5 minutes of this game?
Well, Quainess has had a really big impact, and not necessarily in scoring the ball, but number one, rebounding, but number two, his ability to be able to distribute out of that low post area and create offense, not necessarily getting the assist, but the hockey assist.
Here's Miller, tough one off the bounce, and he left it short. Rebound to Roberts. Look at Francis on that block. He was calling for it, but instead, it's Huzan knocking down the three.
You know, Tripp, I think that's where he's looking the most comfortable. His ability to be able to knock it down. I think last year, early even on this year, he was a little hesitant to be able to take those shots. But right there, no hesitation, pull up three in transition. He's improved so much in that area.
Freeman fouled on a three.
Let's take a look at this, because I think earlier on in the year, he was not taking this shot. But if you do not match up in transition, Milos Huzan now will make you pay.
We see the scoring improvement. They also got to remember, he was out 3 weeks with a broken nose. He's learning a new system here at Houston. It always takes time when you're a transfer in your first year.
Especially when the two systems, where the system that you was coming from was completely different than where you are now. And I think that the biggest thing is that they chose Houston. He wanted that challenge to be able to defend the way that Kelvin Sampson challenges you to defend. He wanted that level of toughness. He wanted to be part of Houston basketball. And it took him a little while to be able to get acclimated and adjusted into it, but he's now looking better than he ever has.
You know, something Kelvin Sampson also pointed out was L.J. Cryer helping him with this evolution. Talked about how L.J. Cryer just a year ago was the transfer from Baylor.
Yeah.
Understood what it's like. As Freeman knocking down another free throw. Arizona State hanging around here, only down by 4.
And I get it. I came from Baylor. It's two different systems. Scott Drew is phenomenal, but it's not the same as Houston Cougars and Kelvin Sampson.
Sharp open from the wing, and the three rims out. Rebound to Alston Mason. Josan Sanin, another one of these freshmen who reclassified to play college ball early. Mason driving by everybody. Extra pass, Ali with 6 on the shot clock. Mason in close. How about that offense from Arizona State?
And that's what happens when you are not afraid of the double. When you are not afraid of the hard hedge, you can drive the ball and get it out. You put the backside in rotations, and good things happen.
And King, that allows the crowd here at Desert Financial Arena to get in it. Roberts let the D fly by, lays it in as Houston's lead back to 4.
And not a bad defensive possession right there, because if you look at Jihad, he took away that right shoulder, because that is where Roberts loves to get. Forced him to go the other way. However, sometimes good players always have counters.
Sanin catch and shoot. Ooh. Good transition D by Arizona State will force Houston to run their half-court set here. Huzan just waiting for it. The repost with Roberts. Here's the double. And he traveled with it.
Well, let's take a look back, because this is where I think Arizona State can have success. Off of that double, Alston Mason finds a way to get to the paint. When you get to the paint, backside rotations are wide open, and good things happen. Force Houston to play out of a scramble, but it only happens when you attack the hard hedge on the ball screen like Alston Mason did.
Talk about unselfish basketball there.
That's a beautiful play.
Arizona State shooting 50% from the floor. That one rims out for Freeman. Arsenault inside. Francis threw it to himself. And Bobby Hurley might have a case. He thought it was a travel, but they called a foul. As Francis threw it up at the rim, it didn't hit anything, and he used the first one to grab it.
Yeah, he might have a point right there. Austin Mason really starting to put the team on his back end. He's looking good, but the basketball court isn't the only place he looks good at. I mean, in the industry, and his little brother follows in his footsteps.
Protect that face, especially against Houston. It is a tough one out here. But that's good for him. I love that.
Could you pull off any of those suits?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I really think you could.
No. Okay, let's clean up what happened before we went to break. This was a shot by Francis, and he was the first one to catch it. Now, the important note on this rule is that it was deemed a shot attempt. And in college, if it's deemed a shot attempt, you can go get it and be the first one to touch it. You cannot pass it to yourself, but you can shoot it to yourself.
The referee came over to make sure that we understood that, because in the NBA, people get that rule confused. In the NBA, if you do that, it's an automatic violation. In college basketball, it is not.
Great officiating crew, Tony Padilla, Kelly Self, and Paul Sells here on the call tonight. So Bashir Jihad will go to this line. They transfer from Ball State. And he's one of those guys who's been in a bit of a slump for this Arizona State team. And asked Bobby Hurley about it. He said, sometimes when it's your last year, you know it's your last go around, you kind of press a little bit. And he said he was one of those guys, the reason why they went on that hike, to just kind of get him out of his head and relax and just have fun playing basketball again.
I feel like that's a common theme that I've seen in college basketball this year. Coaches trying to make sure their players are starting to have fun again. I think so many times players can get so tight with all the pressure they have, the added pressure with the NIL and everything else going on outside from their circles, their agents, that they have to remember it's all about having fun and doing what you love, which is playing between these four lines and competing at a high level.
Could you imagine being a student here at Arizona State with the campus they have here in this climate? Oh my goodness, I'd be having fun.
Listen, I went to Baylor for a reason.
You were focused.
I was focused.
Uzan pointing out direction, crossover, gets into the lane. And a strong board for Amir Ali. Pull-up, jumper. Arizona State is just 1 for 6 from downtown tonight. And a couple of those threes have been pretty questionable.
Yeah, I think that's part of the thing that Coach Hurley was, trying to emphasize and shoot around was shot selection is key. Shot selection is huge. Yes, they have a lot of guys one-on-one who can go get buckets, but you have to be able to go get buckets within the time and score and be able to know what's a good shot versus what is a bad shot.
Especially when you're playing a team like Houston, who is not going to beat themselves.
Yes,
they don't turn the ball over.
They do not turn the ball over. So you have to value the possession. And they have guys who are good enough to be able to get buckets on the guards of Houston. However, if they do not take good shots and do not value possessions, it's not going to be pretty.
There's Arsenault behind the play, gets the steal to keep it alive for Houston. Pryor running that pick and roll, finds Roberts. Little show and go, and gets it to fall, plus the foul. What a move by Jawan Roberts.
He's so crafty down low. One-on-one, he's so patient. Let's take a look back. This is just a bad play by Ali. You talk about valuing possessions. That's not doing that right there. But Jawan Roberts, so crafty, just find ways to get back to his left hand. And if you allow him to get to his right shoulder, it's automatic money.
When you think about the teams that Houston has had the past 2-3 years, Roberts was one of those pieces that helped his other guys get to the NBA, and now he's one of the men. He's the guy who is now picking up his scoring, not just a rebounder and a shot blocker.
Yeah, there's been a lot of times when you look back at the game against UCF or the game against Oklahoma State earlier on. This young man was the reason why they won. The guards were not scoring. They were playing through Jawan Roberts. And I think that's an area of his game that he's grown in that he wasn't able to do last year.
Houston not able to squeeze that rebound. It goes off of Sharp. It'll stay here with Arizona State as we approach 10 minutes to play here in this first half. What's the key for Arizona State to get a better shot here?
Being able to deliver passes on time and on target. I think a lot of times one reason why we're seeing that was on time and on target. I think that's where Houston gets you. I mean, the pressure causes you to throw bad passes, which throws off the rhythm of the shooter. And right there, a good pass by Freeman in the pocket allowed Miller to get right into his shooting motion and knock it down. They need more possessions like that where clean passes are being delivered.
Offense is going through Roberts now. Just puts his head down and finishes through the contact.
Right there, if you're Phillips, you have the athleticism advantage. You have the length advantage. If you just wall up and go vertical, you make this hard, but you don't leave the ground. Your arms are bent, they're leaning forward, and this is a foul every single time. Jawan Roberts is so good at seeking out the contact on the drive. If you're Phillips, with your verticality and with your athleticism, you have to go meet him at the rim instead of not jumping off the floor.
So second personal on Phillips as Roberts can't convert the three-point play with Quaintance back on the floor for Arizona State. See if Quaintance can get a touch. He does not even have a shot attempt yet tonight. Quaintance flashing, trying to work down low. And Miller tied up. And a takeaway by Houston. It is 5-on-2 right now with Arizona State not getting back in the play.
That's absolutely inexcusable by Freeman right there. He wanted the basketball because he was wide open. Then he trots back down the floor. That is absolutely inexcusable. And if you're Freeman, you have to be better than that. You have to be able to get back. Inexcusable effort right there. And that's why they're down by 8. Let's see if they can climb back.
Miller too. Miller was just laying down.
Well, let's take a look back at this last play, because I understand as a basketball player, sometimes things don't go the way that you want them to go. You should have got the basketball, yes, because you were wide open. But look at this. This is a 5-on-2 break. You have 3 guys behind the basketball, and you allow Houston, a top 5 team in the country, to get an easy bucket like that in transition because you were upset about not getting the ball when you wanted to get the ball. Inexcusable effort.
King McClure, if you were on the floor, what would you be saying to your teammates right now?
I'd be going off. I mean, that's just me. Like, I'd be going, I'm a competitor. I mean, you live for moments like this. You live to play against top 5 teams to come into your crib and potentially pull out the upset. And we know how good this young man is. We know how good Freeman can be when he's knocking down shots like that, when he's giving 100% effort. But that last play, if you want to pull off upsets, that can't happen.
It is still just a 5-point game after that 3-ball by Freeman. So with all the Arizona State mistakes, they are still hanging around in this one. Roberts spinning, going on the freshman Quaintance. Sharp inside, and that one put in by Malik Wilson.
And that's something that we're seeing from Sharp that we really haven't seen all year. He is driving closeouts and getting to the paint. He's known as a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter, but because his shot isn't falling, he is diversifying his offensive game.
Here's Quayton in close, had that one pinned, gets it back, trying to put it back up. Scramble for it, and that one's off Arizona State.
Emmanuel Sharp hasn't been scoring the ball well, but you got to find ways to stay on the court.
Run. And Kelvin Sampson says it feels like this team is really starting to come together. He said earlier in the season you had Uzan, who was out with 3 weeks for that broken nose. Francis was out 19 days with a groin injury. Now that his team is starting to get healthy, they are learning how to play together.
It's just a veteran leadership. They understand how to win. They've been in so many big games, the nucleus of this team, that they understand when the going gets rough, what it's going to take, the effort that it's going to have to be able to be shown to get over the hump and win games. I mean, the game against Kansas, they're not supposed to win. So going to the McKell Center against Arizona, that's a very tough place to win. But they find ways, despite not being their best, to get dubs.
Houston's largest lead of the game right now, up 9. And Mason gets all the way to the cup with the left-hand finish.
I'm a huge fan of Austin Mason. I mean, he's so smooth, and in the last 4 games, he's been one of the best point guards in the Big 12, averaging 18 points and 6 assists, doing a really good job so far up to this point.
Cryer got away with that push-off and nails the step-back 3.
LJ Cryer, that's filthy right there. Hit you with the shoulder, extra step back. I mean, we are in the house of James Harden.
10-point lead for Houston. Jihad missing everything.
And that's one of those shots right there that we were talking about. You have to value the possession. You should have shot the first one, but to pump fake, jab step, then shoot a contested 3 with 20 seconds left on the shot clock, not the best look.
Cryer used that screen from Roberts, launches a 3, too strong for the Mason. Arizona State looking to push it. Corner 3 ball, Miller. And it's Arsenault on the glass. Houston shooting 58% from the floor here in this first half. Wilson creating space. Oh, that's a nice little fadeaway.
And Wilson has shown at times he can come off the bench for Coach Sampson and get buckets. We saw it in the Kansas game how big that this young man can be.
Feels like this is a big possession for Arizona State. Down 12 and Wilson picking the pocket. A foul first on the floor.
Let's take a look at how the guards of Houston do a tremendous job of using their body to create space. Wilson might have got away with a little push-off right there, but he led with the shoulder. Good intentions at first. And then LJ Cryer, stop on a dime, get back behind the three-point line. Great awareness to know where he is. And if you leave him that open, Striff, it's automatic money.
Did you see how much ground he covered on that step back? He went from the elbow to the three-point line on a step back. That was nasty.
That was impressive, and he's only like 6'1". So to be able to cover that much ground at 6'1" is extremely tough to do.
So the officials are going to the monitor, not sure what they're looking at here with just over 5 minutes to play here in this first half.
Let's take a look.
Oh. Ooh, it looked like Wilson clipped Miller in the face.
Yeah, I mean, they have to review any contact above the neck. It's automatically getting reviewed, but I don't think this was anything malicious, or he didn't have the intent to hit him. He was really just trying to bring the ball over.
So you think this is still a basketball play?
I think that's a basketball play. And I could see how the referees
All the
would see
floors
otherwise,
confirmed.
but I think that was a basketball play.
So it stays a common foul, nothing on Wilson.
The referees got it right. They 100% got it right.
So Wilson to the line. Front end of a 1-and-1. Here's tomorrow's college hoops doubleheader. We start with the Tobacco Road rivalry between NC State and North Carolina. That's in Chapel Hill at 7 Eastern on ESPN. And #1 Auburn host Arkansas at 9. We knew Auburn was good, but when you beat Alabama, it takes you to a whole nother level.
At Alabama. At Alabama is so impressive. Auburn is scary good. Auburn is scary good.
Got a dribble by Freeman. You tell that he was trying to put that one on, and he says too small. I wouldn't mind seeing that celebration go away.
Why is that?
I mean, come on. You're 6'6". You're too small to somebody else.
But in the moment, they're saying that you were too small.
Using. Flying in for the board is Ali. Pick and roll with Quaintance. Let's see if they can get him a touch here. Now he'll set the screen for Miller. Crossover, pull up 3. Freeman tracks it down. Hoist up another one. And tipped out of bounds. It'll stay with the Sun Devils. Timeout on the floor. It is Houston with a 12-point lead here in the desert. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. As we take a look at the standings, Houston up a game and a half on Arizona. Right now, Kansas is down by 20 against BYU. King, is there another team outside of Houston that you think should be looked out for here in the Big 12?
Texas Tech.
Okay.
I like Texas Tech, and part of the reason why I like them is because they played against Houston. I was on that game. I think one thing that they had was guards who were able to make plays, especially I like calling them late shot clock guys. 10 seconds or under can go get you a bucket without a play being called. Kind of similar to that. You know, 9 seconds on the clock, Jihad face up, can knock it down. But Texas Tech has a bunch of those guys, and the way that JT Toppin has been playing lately, he is starting to insert himself in the Player of the Year category in the Big 12.
Ooh, okay, I like that.
Averaging 30 and 10 in the last 2 games. Been phenomenal.
And a technical foul has just been given out to Bobby Hurley as we take a look at some of the Big 12 storylines. You talked about it, JT Toppin.
He's phenomenal. I mean, with the way that he played against Arizona State, this young man is really putting the team on his back. And when you mix him with the guards that they have, and also this game on Saturday, Iowa State and Houston, might be one of the best games we see all year.
So Emmanuel Sharp will shoot the technical foul called against Bobby Hurley. Hurley has not been happy with some of the calls so far tonight. All right, let's take a look at the last whistle and what drew the tech on Bobby Hurley here as the reach-in foul on Emmanuel Sharp.
I mean, that was a foul. It was a foul. But I think Hurley's frustration stems from earlier on in the game. Not necessarily that specific call, but earlier on in the game, he feels like that it's not being officiated evenly on both sides. But I think that's also one thing that, as a coach, that you have to know. Going into a game against Houston, you know it's going to be extremely physical. You have to prepare yourself and know that, hey, there are going to be things that we haven't really faced all year. But I think his frustration wasn't necessarily on that play, but stemmed from earlier on in the game.
But let's not forget, Bobby Hurley, he's savvy. He's a veteran. His 10th year here at Arizona State. He knows what he is doing.
He knows what he's doing, no doubt about that for sure.
See? On a little tighter now on this end, which is what Coach Hurley had been asking for as the foul called on Sharp. And we get a Bronx cheer from the crowd here at Desert Financial Arena.
Yeah, Coach Hurley might want to be careful. He's teetering that line. He's teetering that line. He might want to be a little careful moving forward.
Freeman missing the front end of the 1-and-1. Roberts gets the clear out. Under 3 minutes to play here in this first half as they repost to Roberts. Uzan rising up, his runner spins out, and it's tracked down by Wilson. And he's off the mark. And a whistle before the slip as Freeman is still down on the floor as there was a wet spot right in front of the Houston bench. As the officials noticed it, they called a time to blow the whistle. Good thing to see B.J. Freeman up and okay.
Let's take a look at this right here. Ooh. Yeah, I'm glad he got up because, yeah. Glad to see he's okay. Glad to see he's moving.
So the entire Houston staff still with towels trying to make sure that floor is dry, including Kelvin Sampson getting in on there.
Now, one thing that doesn't get talked about enough is the heat that Kelvin Sampson wears on his feet game by game. I mean, the threes that he has on right now, the twos that he wears during practice, during shoot-arounds. The only reason I mention that because he's sweeping, he's cleaning the floor, mopping the floor with his feet. And I think that doesn't get talked about enough. The heat on that Kelvin Sampson's feet is very underrated. Well, might be the best in the Big 12.
Well, you do know that Houston has been elevated to the top tier of the Jordan Brand school, so they get all the heat.
For sure, but I mean, his shoe game is definitely tops in the Big 12.
All right, so it looks like the court is dry. Kevin Sampson is coaching up, even when guys are on the bench, letting his guys know. And out of the timeout, here's Wilson with the steal and the throwdown.
Oh, that was, I didn't know Wilson had that.
Oh, he's got some bounce in it.
I think it's very important for Arizona State in this last 2:15 to cut this to single digits. It's a major difference going into the half, down 16 compared to going down in single digits.
Well, I will tell you, ever since Bobby Hurley got that technical, the game has been called a lot tighter on this end of the floor. Ali sinks the first free throw, as Francis had to go to the bench for Houston with his third personal.
This right here works in Arizona State's favor. Now with Arsenault at the 4, this is more of an even lineup instead of dealing with two bigs of Houston.
Cryer shaking free, 3 off the mark. But it's Arsenault keeping it alive for Houston. Uzan, he is so patient. Works at his speed. Shot clock's at 7. Left him open, nails the 3.
And that's what you can't do. Off of the ball screen, you have to determine. If you're going to ice it, then you have to stay there as the big. If you're going to switch, then you have to step up. But to scoot back and allow Uzan, a guy who is looking more confident from behind the arc, to be able to knock it down, unacceptable.
Oh, Wilson goes coast to finish. And Bobby Hurley wants a timeout because it is now the largest lead of the game for the Cougars, up by 20.
Wilson showing us how good he can be off of the bench for Kelvin Sampson.
Well, Mr. Wilson is coming to play here at the end of this first half. 10 points for Houston to lead the way.
This is so high level. You feel the bump. As soon as you get the contact, you throw it up. And you want to talk about high level. His dunk right here, showing the athleticism. Malik Wilson has been terrific.
All right, let's see what Arizona State draws up coming out of this timeout. Nice play inside. As Jihad with the rim rock.
That was a great offensive possession right there. Great draw out of a timeout. Confused the tag on the backside. Good pass.
When Arizona State is unselfish, they get good looks. Arsenault, he took an extra step with it, travel.
Let's take a look back at this play right here. You circle Austin Mason through to confuse where the tag should be. And Austin Mason puts the ball where only Jihad can get it. Just good pass right there, good awareness, and right there, good split.
So many players are touching the rock now in this possession, as Mason will be fouled getting to the rim.
And I think that's what, when you look at what they do the second half, I think that's something that they have to put an emphasis on. Getting Austin Mason the ball in the pick and roll, he's been very, very successful at getting to the paint and hitting the open man, which has forced Houston to scramble on the defensive side. And typically good things have happened, like you said, Shrip, when the ball is moving for Arizona State and it isn't sticking.
Also, Mason has hit 25 consecutive free throws. This is a front end of a 1-and-1. Make that 26. Two of the top teams in the ACC highlight our ESPN 2 Thursday night women's college basketball coverage. We got number 11 Duke hosting Louisville. That's at Cameron Indoor. Coverage tips at 7 Eastern. 27 in a row. Mr. Mason is automatic.
You didn't even jinx him. You know, typically they have the commentator jinx.
Now, you know I don't believe in that. You know I don't believe in that.
You know, I don't either. But too many times we get behind the booth and we say something like that, and all of a sudden the player misses. Now, I don't believe in jinxes. I'm not that type of guy, but still.
LJ Cryer has been so good, one of the veteran leaders on this Houston team. Especially with the shot clock winding down whenever this Houston Cougars are in trouble. He has been the go-to guy.
Now, I like to call him Mr. Consistent because in the last 6 games, he's averaging 17 points per game. With Sharp not being able to have the same level of production offensively, LJ Cryer is just showing us that he can lead the team and he can put the team on his back. He's so skilled in this right here. Oh my goodness. The separation, the step back. LJ Cryer just getting it done.
To be able to shut it down, step back, and compose yourself. Take a look at what he's doing in his last 6 games.
He's gotten so good off of the bounce. You know, we used to call him a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. When he was at Baylor, that's what he specialized in. But now he's been at Houston. His ability to be able to create his jumper off of the dribble is where I think he's grown the most in his offensive game.
All right, King, about a second differential between shot and game clock. Walk me through this last possession.
I would really go to Jawan Roberts on the low block. Every single time that Phillips is guarding Jawan Roberts, something good has happened for Houston. But since they're in a zone, Kelvin Sampson sees that.
3 seconds on the shot clock. Wilson driving baseline to Arsenault. And no, a shot clock violation first.
They just have to get rolling, share the basketball this half.
Trying to find Quaintance, but Freeman's pass is off the mark. Quaintance is looking at it, he's like, man, I was on the block. And you threw that towards the three-point line.
And right there, if you're a guard, you have to know that with LJ Cryer on Quaintance, it's not the bounce pass for the entry pass. You have to throw the lob.
Here's Tugler. He missed most of that first half with 2 fouls, and here's the first bucket of the second half.
That's such a great play right there. The post entry pass to LJ Cryer, setting the cross screen for Tugler to get the ball in that mid-paint area.
Phillips in close, had it swatted there by Roberts. And there's Phillips now with the block. Houston keeps possession, 11 on the shot clock. Roberts taking his time, that jump hook short. Fight for the rebound, it's won by Arizona State. Freeman with a 3-on-2, Mason 3-ball, count it.
That was a good decision right there. 3-on-2, Mason gets to the three-point line. Freeman delivers it when Mason is in rhythm. They need more possessions like that.
Mason with 15 points to lead the way for Arizona State. So the foul is on Tugler, offensive foul. That'll be his 3rd. As we take a look at all the scoring for Arizona State, it's basically been Mason and Freeman.
The guards have to make plays, but they're going to need Miller to be able to step up with them, or Sandin to come off the bench and be able to help them with that scoring. But I think that it starts with Mason. Mason's ability that we saw in the first half to be able to get into the paint and create plays, create opportunities for his teammates. They need more of that.
Freeman, that is just a terrible shot.
You said it.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a tough one. It's a rushed one. 22 seconds still on the shot clock. When you're playing against a team like Houston, you have to value the possessions, and you cannot afford to have shots like that, especially when you're down by 15.
And now look at the breakout. Good job by Phillips to protect the rim. And now the Sun Devils with numbers. A 5-on-4 break. Mason's three short. And Tugler with the board. Pressure D by Miller on the ball. Fighting over the screen, but he runs into Tugler and commits the foul. Phillips and Tugler getting into it, and now Phillips is called for that arm bar. And Phillips, that's his third personal.
And Phillips is getting frustrated because when Tugler knocked him down and got the offensive foul called about 2 possessions ago, he had to be constrained by his teammates right there. So now the frustration is just building. And that's what Houston will do to you. The physicality, if you are not prepared for it, they will get you out of your game. And honestly, Phillips has not been as effective tonight as he usually is.
Here's Pryor from the wing, and he nails the three. Inside Quaintance, that is blocked by Tugler. Played 3 minutes here in the second half, and Pryor another three, back-to-back threes, and timeout Arizona State.
And if you got to know where anybody is on the floor, you have to know where LJ Pryor is. Arizona State has some work to do.
That little man, you just made his night.
Shout out to Garrett, man.
Alongside King McClure, I'm John Schriffen. 5th-ranked Houston in control right now. Let's see if Arizona State can get back in this ball game. Mason looking to penetrate, and the kick out. And Freeman the turnover. Turnover by Houston, and Ali leading the break. Mason, spin move in close, and he'll be fouled.
I think that's an area in which might get Arizona State to come back in this ball game, is pushing the ball, pushing the tempo. I mean, when you look at this Houston team, according to Ken Palm, out of 364 teams, where do you think Houston ranks in tempo?
Ooh, I don't know. You tell me.
360 out of 364. They wear you down. They slow you down. They are very, very, very intentional every single time they touch the basketball. They only push when they get turnovers to get easy layups. But if you can speed it up a little bit, it's hard to do. A lot of teams have tried. Not many have been successful. But if you can speed up the tempo against this Houston team, you can maybe have some success.
Well, look what they did last Saturday at Arizona, a low-scoring game, 62-58, getting the win, and Arizona likes to run.
And you know, you're an SEC guy, so you're used to the scores being in the 90s and 100s, man.
There's Pryor dragging the foot, travel. Timeout on the floor. We'll come back to Tempe after this. Back here at Arizona State. It is the Sun Devils trailing number 5 Houston right now. Mason dancing with, he's got the big man on him.
Oh, that's so impressive right there. Jerron Roberts switches on to Mason one-on-one. Gets the stop, but B.J. Freeman.
But these celebrations, I understand it was a facial, but look at the scoreboard.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. Tough shot, and I think they need more of that. And he definitely has the capability to do that, but you're right. Celebrations down by 16 are a little much.
And I don't want to feel like we're getting on Freeman today.
Yeah.
He's a great player.
But I think that's why we're getting on him, because of how good he can be and his potential, right? Because if he didn't have that potential, then there'll be no need to even say anything.
Oh,
Talk about a lot of potential.
Tough one. Uzan,
Hey.
what a deep step back.
You talk about potential. Uzan is starting to scratch the surface of how good he really can be with his Houston team.
And a turnover inside as we're taking a look at that shot by Milos Uzan.
This is tough right here. With the step back. You talk about where he's gotten the most comfortable. Shooting behind the arc is something that he has really added to his game.
Cryer sneaking free. And a foul on the rebound will be called against Houston. And that looks like it's going to be on Tugler. That'll be his 4th personal. Tugler has been in foul trouble for most of the night as we take a look at Uzan and his career. First 2 years at Oklahoma, had his people reach out to Houston and said, I want to be a part of this program. Kelvin Sampson said, all right, let me take a look. Looked at the film, saw that he still had a lot of potential and some things he could help him with. And now he has flourished in this Cougar system. Snagged 3, left it short, and a rebound to Cryer. Uzan with the runner off the mark, but the follow slam is there for Francis.
You have to block out, because if you do not, they are crashing the glass relentlessly. And we've seen Francis time and time again tonight be able to create second chance opportunities.
Jihad falls to the deck. You can tell he's taking control of this offense. He wanted that clear out for his guy Roberts. And a block is now called.
Take a look at this right here. No block out, just giving Francis an easy runway. Somebody has to be able to check him. Just a bunch of ball watching right there. You can't do that against this Houston Cougar team.
Okay, look what's coming out here in the second half. We have the curtain of distraction. With Roberts going to the free throw line, what is hiding behind the mystery curtain? We got a bunch of unicorns. Here's our NBA Friday doubleheader. The Knicks take on the East leading Cavs at 7 Eastern. Then it's over to Houston where the Rockets host the Timberwolves. NBA Countdown tips off our coverage on ESPN at 6:30. Was there ever an arena where something going on behind the basket distracted you at the free throw line?
No.
Does that stuff even work?
I mean, yeah, sometimes you might see, like something like that probably would work more times than not. We should do a study done on when they have the current distraction, what the actual free throw shooting percentage is. There should be a study on that.
I'm sure there is.
Because that's like closer than the average. They're typically there in the stands, the distraction in the stands. But to be right behind the basket, that's closer than the average distraction. So I wonder what the stat actually is on that.
– 21 seconds on the shot clock for Arizona State, as Houston currently on a 7-0 run. And the scoring drought for Arizona State is over 2.5 minutes on the floor.
Right now you can go at that matchup.
Double comes. Ali with a rim run. And he gets fouled. So the foul on Francis. That'll be his 4th personal. So Tugler and Francis both have 4 for Houston right now.
So let's take a look back right here. Something good came out of it, but when Jihad catches the ball, keep running a little bit more. When Jihad catches the ball on the post-up, take a look at how stagnant Arizona State is. Somebody has to cut off of that double. If somebody cuts, now one has to go towards, and there's 2 behind, which now is a 2-on-1 on the backside. There has to be more movement on the Arizona State offense to create rotations and mismatches on the backside.
They're trying to work this full court press to speed up Houston, but it is not working so far in the second half. Double team, Uzan, open 3-ball. And a rebound to Freeman. Ball has not touched the paint yet. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Ali, long rebound, goes to Mason. Inside, finishing with the left.
That's such a tough finish right there by a guy who's not the strongest, not the biggest guy, but able to get into the paint, seek out the contact, and still finish.
10-second backcourt violation, so that press from Arizona State forcing the turnover.
Maybe a little bit of life. Let's see if this can bring them back.
We will step aside and come back to the desert after this. You got to earn your way on the floor, but he does get some run.
But when you talk to anybody, any coach on the staff, you talk to Coach Sampson, Coach Bilal, they'll tell you that he has so much potential. And you're right, this is a veteran squad in which it's going to be hard to see the floor, but it's so important for him to be able to learn from these guys, understand how to win, see what they do in order to get wins, to where in the next few years, now he's getting minutes. This is how the Houston system grows, and they say that he will definitely get minutes in years to come because he has those instincts. He's still learning how to play at this level, though.
Roberts, nice spin move with the finish in the paint. He's now in double figures with 10.
He is getting so good. Teams are starting to take away his left hand, so his counter to be able to go over the left shoulder with his right hand, he's gotten so good at that.
Freeman, his runner, rolls in. Freeman now with 15 points. It's been Freeman and Mason leading the way for Arizona State.
And he's averaging 21 in the last 2. He is so talented. One-on-one, he's hard to stay in front. They just need that effort, not only on the offensive side, but on the defensive side as well.
You know, Kelvin Sampson says Uzan, the way we describe him, is boring. They said that's exactly how I like it. He's a consistent, steady player. He doesn't have to do anything flashy. Freeman, baseline drive, missing the lay-in, but he's fouled.
And that just shows his scoring prowess right there. To reject the ball screen, good handle. LJ Cryer slides over. He avoids the charge to draw the blocking foul. And BJ Freeman, as far as being able to score the basketball, I'll put him up there with anybody in the Big 12.
He leads this team in scoring. But something Bobby Hurley has been challenging him is to show up on that stat sheet in other ways, not just in the scoring column. Coming into the night, the last 2 games, played 80 minutes and had 2 rebounds combined.
Yeah, at 6'5", 6'6", he has to be able to insert himself more on the glass because his team needs him in that way, and just defensively being able to buy in and lock in to get those stops when their team needs it, like some of your other teammates do. I mean, once he starts inserting himself defensively, like right there.
Miller, nice bounce pass in the throwdown for Ali. This full court press starting to create some havoc. Sharp, open 3 ball, yes sir.
He has not shot the ball well recently. So for him to see one go in, he was 0 for 6 last game. For him to finally see one go in, really good sign for Houston.
Freeman, crossover to the pull-up. Here's Sharp, takes another one, and he's starting to heat up. He has been dealing with a right foot injury. Sat out for 10 days straight, didn't play at all, and so he was 0 for 6 in his last game. And you can tell he's starting to feel that lift again off that right foot.
And he's a rhythm guy. He sees one go in, now he's looking for the next one. Extremely streaky, but it's a really good sign because that's what he does. About 80% of his shots are jumpers. He's not really looking to get towards the rim, but when he can knock it down like he has done the past 2 possessions, it just opens up the offense. And for a good shooter like that to see one clean, no contest, you know the next one is going up.
So he's got that brace on that right ankle, but it's really his foot. They said the bottom of his foot area was black and blue after a game recently, and they decided to sit him down for 10 days straight. And it's tough when you don't have any basketball activity to not play or do anything for 10 days and then jump right back into game action.
Yeah, because when you look at how he started the season, I mean, he was definitely on the road for most improved in the Big 12. In the way that he was shooting the ball over 50% from 3, averaging a little over 15 points per game. This man right here was on a tear. But after the injury, it's hard, like you said, to be able to get back into the flow, get back in rhythm. But luckily, LJ Cryer, Uzan has stepped up in multiple ways.
Oh, so that was an illegal screen. And that's going to be on Tugler. That'll be his 5th and final foul.
And that's something that Kelvin Sampson talks about a lot is Tugler plays so hard and he's so active on the floor that can cause him to get in foul trouble sometimes. And we've seen him get 3, 4, and sometimes 5 fouls way too often.
Just 8 minutes on the floor for Tugler tonight. Freeman had that blocked by Wilson, gets it back, 10 on the shot clock. Nice dish inside, but his big man Phillips wasn't ready for it. A 20-point lead for the Houston Cougars, under 8 to play here at Arizona State.
With JT Toppin getting kicked out, Grant McCaslin getting kicked out, I mean, they were just motivated, that Tech team. And Houston still took it to overtime. But this Houston team just understands how to win. They take care of business, and they just find ways to succeed.
Sharp, catch and shoot, left it short. And off Houston, Arizona State ball. When you think about some of the non-conference losses, Auburn, Alabama, those were early in the season when Houston was a little banged up, still didn't have their full identity yet. This looks like a very different team right now this time of the year.
Yeah, I mean, talk to Kelvin Sampson about that before the Texas Tech game. And the one thing he said was, we didn't know who we were. Uzan wasn't Uzan. Uzan was still trying to figure it out. I mean, if you have this level of Uzan against an Auburn team that they barely lost to, an Alabama team that they took to overtime, and those might be different ball games. Especially when Sharp is as sharp as he's been tonight. I mean, this Houston team legitimately has a chance, as good as anybody in the country, Auburn, Alabama, anybody, to win a national championship.
Miller pull up three, nothing but nylon. Still fight left in this Sun Devil squad, down 20. There's Sharp, and he is really feeling it here in the desert. His 4th three of the night.
And this is the level of game in which he needed. He needed to see shots finally go in. And when you have Uzan playing the way that he's playing, Cryer playing the way that he's playing, and you add Sharp now, I mean, this Houston team gets that more dangerous.
You know, it was interesting, Kelvin Sampson, he said he wasn't so upset with Sharp going 0 for 6 in their last game. It was more his defensive effort got on him about it. And look, now his offense has picked up.
And that's one thing he emphasized today. Sharp has to find ways to stay on the floor outside of just scoring by playing defense, helping on the rebounding, like doing the little things. And when you start buying into the little things, success happens for you offensively. And now he's knocking down shots. But it started with him doing the little things.
Isn't it amazing how year after year Kelvin Sampson just gets the most out of all of his guys? I mean, that's why people are reaching out to him and saying, can I play for you, please?
And what's interesting is next year, they're going to be just as good. When you look at Kingston Fleming that they brought in, Chris Sinak, and you hopefully get Uzan back. You keep Tugler, you keep Sharp, you lose Cryer and Jawan Roberts. I just find it interesting that in a day and age in which we see guys transfer all the time, Houston is not a place a lot of guys transfer from. Guys transfer in, but guys do not transfer from Houston that often.
And they don't even take many transfers.
Yeah.
Maybe 1, 2 a season because, to your point, their roster stays intact and guys aren't going other places.
And you got a guy like Arsenault who's coming off the bench this year. That will play a huge role next year and will end up starting. You got a guy like Mercy Miller who has learned and who has grown and who has been able to compete against some of these guys like LJ Cryer and Sharp every single day. And now they can develop and get implemented into the system next year.
You know, there's a lot of cool perks to the job that we have. One of them is being able to attend a Houston practice. It is like unlike any practice in the entire country. Cryer, deep three. Tipped out, and Houston keeps it alive. They worked on that drill specifically so long yesterday. Just tipping it, getting a hand on it, and getting your teammate to be able to get the long rebound. Under 5 minutes to play here in the second half. Shot clock's at 3. And tipped out of bounds. 1.3 to go on the shot clock.
And that's the tough part. When you allow Houston to get second chances, they make you play another 20 seconds of defense, which wears you down. So now you end up playing a minute of defense, which is extremely hard to do.
Gotta get this one up. And a block there by Phillips will cause the shot clock violation. You know, something Bobby Hurley said that has been troubling with his team is that he's shortened the rotation. He's only going 7 or 8 guys, and he said sometimes I'm not sure. Maybe they're getting tired down the stretch, and that's why we're losing close games in the Big 12.
You just have to get over the hump. I mean, the majority of the games that we talked about in the open, 7 of their 11 losses in Big 12 play have come in single digits. So it's just a matter of getting over the hump. And talking to Coach Hurley earlier on, I mean, he said, we're right there. We are right there. They just have to believe. I mean, tonight is a little bit different, but they just have to believe that they can get over it in the late game executions. They're able to actually do what they work on in practice.
It also goes to show how good of a coach Bobby Hurley is, right? Still trying to be creative. When you're going through a tough stretch, get your team out there on a hike, get some ice cream, because Coach K taught him that. Give me that.
I mean, what do you expect from a Hurley, though? You know? What do you expect from a Danny Hurley or a Bobby Hurley? Two of the best coaches that we have in this game.
And teaching his players about life lessons, right? You're going through a tough stretch. You don't shy away. You go up the mountain, you climb it, and try to get to the top.
That's beautiful. I like what you did right there.
That was all him. He told me.
Well, I thought his was the ice cream thing. I thought you added your own spin on it by saying, like, going up the mountain. I like that. You should have just took credit.
I did. It's Bobby. It's all good. And another shot clock violation. Well, it's been a tough climb all night for Arizona. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. How about the ball game for Emmanuel Sharp of Houston? Knocked down 4-3, 17 points. And this is coming off the last game where he went 0 for 6. What a bounce back here tonight versus what he did Saturday at Arizona.
Yeah, really impressive because he's been struggling lately. In the last 6 games, only averaging 6 points per game. Hasn't shot it well from 3, only 23 from 3 in the last 6 also. This is definitely a big confidence boost for him.
Under 4 minutes to play in the second half. Here's Ali, short. And a foul on the rebound. That'll be on Uzan, his third. Obviously a lopsided score, but if you're Arizona State, what can you build on? What can you do here in this last 3:30?
I think a lot of times coaches, even though you're down big, they want to see the fight in the effort. And now you might not have shown it the whole game, but if you can show it in the last 3 minutes of the ball game, you can at least take away something to hang your hat on. Because right now, I mean, I don't know if there's much, but they want to see how hard you're going to play and how hard you're going to compete. I know that's what Hurley's looking for right now.
See if Arizona State can put something on film that Bobby Hurley can point to in the film session coming up. I mean, there's been some times throughout the night when they're moving the basketball, driving through the lane, cutting. And another whistle as a foul called on Houston. Two of the top teams in the ACC highlight our ESPN2 Thursday night women's college basketball coverage. Number 11 Duke hosts Louisville at Cameron Indoor. Coverage tips at 7 Eastern.
Duke had a good one the night against Notre Dame. And Notre Dame, oh my goodness. Anna Hidalgo, Olivia Miles. The way that those two young ladies are playing, that might be the most entertaining backcourt in all of women's college basketball. Honestly, I'll put them up in entertainment value against any men's team too.
Women's game has stars. I mean, that's what separates the women's games right now, and that's what the popularity continues to grow.
Anna Hidalgo is a dog. And Olivia Miles, you're talking about passing. Some of the passes that she makes, extremely impressive.
Well, here's Mercy Miller on the floor. See if he can make something happen with the little Euro missing out the rim. Arizona State with numbers. Mason in transition, knocks down the three.
I think one thing, if you are Arizona State, Ali gave you some really good minutes tonight. He did make some freshman mistakes, but you see the potential in him. You see him being the stretch four that can handle the basketball and that can make some tough plays.
Mason knocks down the three. Some of the students behind us are getting real hype. They may have some other interests in this game. With 2:12 to play, timeout on the floor. We will stay here. And is this the fight that you've been wanting to see out of Arizona State?
That is the fight. That is what you want to see if you're Hurley. You want to see your guys take some pride in this game. And Mason has been terrific. The way that he shot the ball in the last 4 games, in the last 6 games, honestly, shooting 43 from 3. I mean, his confidence, he's playing as well as any guard in the country. Despite the outcome of what his team is doing, Austin Mason is playing as well as any guard in the Big 12 in the last 6 games. He's been absolutely terrific tonight. His ability to be able to knock it down from deep range, on the catch. He's ready to fire. He's went down low, not afraid to be able to get contact. One of the main reasons why the ball is moving. I mean, he's provided so much, and he's been a really big spark for this team.
This is the closest Arizona State has been the entire second half. Right now, down by 14. As Austin Mason, 25 points, 8 of 9 from the floor.
Look at the stat line. He's so efficient from the field as well. Austin Mason can play with the best of them. Definitely an underrated point guard in the Big 12.
Austin Mason and B.J. Freeman have combined for 42 points. The rest of the Arizona State team with 20. Well, we've seen that full court press by the Sun Devils cause a couple turnovers earlier in this half. Let's see if Bobby Hurley can dial something up here with 2:12 to play in the second half. Milos Uzan has been instructed that he can run the baseline here. Two minutes to play here at Arizona State. Uzan working against Ali. And Miller traveling, turnover.
Right there, that was good defense right there by Ali. I mean, he's shown at 6'9" how versatile he can be. Staying in front of guards, offensively being tough. I mean, he can do a lot of good things.
Dunks with the two-hand slam. And all of a sudden, it's a 12-point game. Timeout, Houston. As Kelvin Sampson wants to get L.J. Cryer back on the floor, get some of his starters back out there, as Roberts and Sharp go to the scorer's table to check back in as well. Well, Houston needing to take care of business here tonight with this 12-point lead. But after tonight, this upcoming schedule, it is something in the Big 12 as we take a look. Iowa State, Texas Tech. Ooh, wow.
Yes. 2 back-to-back games. That would be extremely tough. I mean, especially that game against Tech on the road. That's almost a get-back game. I know they have that one circled because that was their one lone loss in the Big 12 Conference. So they're looking to get back at Texas Tech. But that Iowa State game on Saturday, as I mentioned earlier, might be one of the best games we see all season.
Key, though, that one is in Houston.
It is in Houston.
So that's a big advantage.
And that place gets rocking.
Oh.
It was my first time there in the Texas Tech game. I was looking around like, wow, this place is elite.
Here's tomorrow's college hoops doubleheader. We start with the Tobacco Road rivalry between NC State and North Carolina. That one in Chapel Hill, 7 Eastern on ESPN. And then we got #1 Auburn hosting Arkansas at 9. Now, that is a huge game for Arkansas because Arkansas is now finding themselves on the bubble, on the outside looking into the big dance. If you can pull off that upset against #1, you are back in the picture.
And Janelle Davis is finally starting to be the Janelle Davis that we know and that we saw at FAU. I think he's starting to understand where his shots are coming from, and him and Wagner are starting to play way better basketball.
All right, so the ball handler's back on the floor for Houston. Here's Roberts, backside, and Wilson with the lay-in. Mason runs into the contact, and he wisely draws the foul on Roberts. So that stops the clock, and in the bonus, it is a 2-shot foul for Mason. I got to say, ever since we had that conversation about what do you want to see out of this team with 3:30 left, Arizona State has looked like a different team.
They've shown fight, they've shown toughness, they've shown grit. You just wish they would have had this same toughness and this same grit earlier on in the game.
1 minute to play here in the second half. And a foul called against Miller of Arizona State. Foul given up by Ali. That'll be the 6th team foul, so the next one will send Houston to the line for a 1-and-1. Arizona State trying to commit a foul here. Fryer playing a little keep away. And there is Ali committing the foul. 7th on the team, sending Cryer to the line for a 1-and-1. Is that a picture of?
I have no idea.
Some subs coming on the floor for Arizona State. Jordan Williams, Chianti Clay, Bobby Hurley, Quentin McCoy.
I've never, ever seen somebody empty their bench and not at least have a big on the floor.
There's a small 5-guard lineup for Bobby Hurley. As best as he tells him, just dribble it. Clay takes a peek at the shot clock. It's at 4. He's going to get one up. Free throw runner off the mark. And the rebound to Cryer. Houston, with the shot clock turned off, can dribble this one out. As Houston will now move to 12 straight road wins. As this one officially is a final. 5th-ranked Houston Cougars with an 80-65 win over Arizona State.